big crowd. Well, thank you very much, and hello, Pennsylvania, one of my favorite places. I went to school here. I love it. I'm thrilled to be back in this magnificent Commonwealth with the thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. I love these patriots. These are the people that built our country. You know that. Just 3 days from now, the people of Pennsylvania are going to elect Dr. Mehmet Oz to the United States Senate. And you're going to send the great Doug Mastriano, a terrific man. These are great people, great men, to the governor's mansion. You're going to elect the incredible slate of true America First Republicans. Up and down the ballot. We're going up and down the ballot like they've never seen before, and we're going to end crazy Nancy Pelosi's political career once and for all. You know, they had a little rally here. Nobody showed up for their rally. Look at this rally. And then they'll say how many votes they got. Oh, it's wonderful, right? This is the biggest poll you can have. And we always had this poll, except now it's bigger and better and stronger than we've ever had it before. Under Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, and the radical Democrat Congress, your Commonwealth is being totally destroyed. Our country is being destroyed. Biden and the far-left lunatics are waging war on Pennsylvania energy, crushing Pennsylvania jobs, gutting Pennsylvania communities, and strangling Pennsylvania families with soaring prices like you've never seen before. Inflation is costing the typical household nearly $800 every single month. Congratulations. Who the hell voted for these people? Who voted? What are we doing? The southern border is wide open. Millions of illegal aliens are pouring into our country. Your Commonwealth is enduring a massive and bloody crime wave, and the far left is indoctrinating our children with twisted race and gender insanity in our schools. Other than that, they're doing a fantastic job. There's only one choice to end this madness, and it is indeed madness. If you support the decline and fall of America, then you must vote for the radical left Democrats. If you want to stop the destruction of our country and save the American dream, then this Tuesday you must vote Republican in a giant red wave. There is no more urgent task for the future of our country than to stop the invasion on our southern border. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. 2 years ago, we had the strongest southern border in American history by far. Now it is the worst border, I believe, anywhere in the world. There's no third world country that would allow what's happening here to happen to them. If they had to use sticks and stones to keep people out, they would do it. Nobody would allow what they are doing to our country. Nobody would allow it. No third world country would allow it. Biden, Pelosi, and the radical Democrats spend all their time obsessing over the borders of distant foreign nations that you've never even heard of in most cases. Americans deserve a Congress and a president who will protect the borders of our nation. And we deserve a government that will defend our sovereignty, secure our land, stand up for our families, and protect the people of our country. Thank you. Mike, it's called America First, or it's called MAGA. You know what MAGA stands for? Make America Great Again. I watched Biden 2 days ago in a fit of rage, anger. He's so angry. We've got to stop MAGA. Calls it Mega MAGA, Ultra MAGA, MAGA King. I'm the MAGA King, he said. I'm the MAGA King. We've got to... That was a very good compliment, actually. The MAGA King. We've got to stop the MAGA King. We're going to stop the MAGA King, get the FBI loaded up, get the Justice Department loaded. For 6 years I've been going through this stuff. A friend of mine said, you have to be the most honest person ever, and they take you out in about 3 days, you know? 6 years. And by the way, we have tonight with us Uncle Sam. Stand up. Look at this guy. He's the greatest. He follows me all over the place. I don't do anything. He follows me. Look at him. He's central casting, too. He's central casting. He's great. I think he made a lot of money someplace, but he comes here to every... How many rallies have you attended, Uncle Sam? Too many. It's his birthday. Happy birthday. Wow. What a great guy. Now, we have people that have been to over 130 rallies. We have some people from North Carolina, some incredible women, 93. They're up to 93, but we have many people that are almost everyone. I think, Mike, almost everyone. We have some people. I say, what do they do for a living? They're following the rally. Well, here we are. Here we are. It's a Saturday night in Pennsylvania. Is there anything better than going to a Trump rally on a Saturday night in Pennsylvania? Unfortunately, we have so many bad things happening to our country, we can't celebrate until we start winning. We have to win, and we're going to win a lot. We're going to win in 22, which is a few days. We're going to win in 24. We're taking back that beautiful house. In 2021, an average of 15 Pennsylvania lives were lost to drug overdoses every single day. Think of that, 15 every single day. Yet Biden and the radical Democrats do nothing to stop the lethal poisons pouring across our border. Most of it comes right through our second border, right over our southern border. It comes right into our country. They don't even bother with the airports. They don't bother with it. It just pours in, and we had it stopped. We had the safest border in history, and now we have the worst. Think of that. Since the end of the Trump administration, the drug cartels have seen their revenue skyrocket by an astounding 2,500%. Think if that was a public company, the stock would be at quite a price, wouldn't it? 2,500% in 2 years. The choice this election is simple. Democrats will defund the police. Republicans will defund the cartels, and we will do that. We will do that. Under my leadership, we waged war on the cartels, and we were very, very successful. We ended catch and release. We stopped asylum fraud. We rounded up aliens. We took alien gang members, all illegally in our country, by the thousands and thousands, MS-13, everyone. We got them the hell out of our country. We took care of it. And you know, their countries didn't want to take them back. You know that. El Salvador, Honduras. They didn't want to take them back, Mexico. But I said to our people, how much do we give? Like Honduras, El Salvador, how much do we pay these countries? Sir, the total for the three countries, $750 million a year. That's a lot. I said, well, they're not taking them back. They wouldn't take them back under the Biden administration. You know, they want to send MS-13 back to these various countries. They wouldn't take them back, so our people gave up. They said they won't take them. I said differently. I said, how much do we pay? $750 million a year. I said, here's what you do. Inform them that we are no longer giving them any money. The following day, I got a call from Guatemala, President, El Salvador, Honduras, the three. Mr. President, sir, we understand you're upset. What are you upset about? You won't take our people back that you sent to us. You're not taking them back. You have to take them back. They said, well, we would love to do that. Is there a problem? I said, yeah, you got to take it. You know what they were doing? They were putting airplanes on the runway, so when the planes would come in, they couldn't land, right? They had to go back to wherever they came from. They were blocking up the buses. They were even blocking up the waters. You couldn't get them back. So I said, here's what you do. You're not getting any money until you open up your land and you're taking these criminals back into your country, because many of them were criminals. And they said, sir, we would be honored to do so. Why didn't you ask? Well, they've been asking for about 15 years, but we asked a little bit differently. So that afternoon, we had a mass migration out of our country of MS-13 gang members and killers and everything else, and they took them back. They took them back very quickly. Sort of like another little business story. You know, the Boeing, been reading about it. Boeing's complaining now that Air Force One, we have a new Air Force One under construction because of me. No president really wanted to do it, but when I got there, they said, sir, we'd like you to sign this document. What's the document? The document was a contract with Boeing to buy a new Air Force One, which, by the way, you should do. The plane is 32 years old. I think it's time. You know, they come in from certain countries, especially in the Middle East. Their plane's about 3 days old, the latest and the greatest. And ours is 32 years that we're the United States of America, so we should do it. So a general came up to me from the Air Force, said, sir, we have the document ready. I said, what document? We're buying a new Air Force One. Now, Air Force One is actually two planes. It's two 747 800s or 900s, and they're quite the plane, I will tell you. In fact, I can't even tell you what's on those planes because it might be top secret, and they'll try and say, oh, he violated a document. He's violated. Every other president takes their documents. I'm the only one. I can't have a document, but everyone else, they got them all over the place. They have them in Chinese restaurants and bowling alleys. You know that, right? The windows are broken, the doors are broken, they have no security. But it's okay for them, but not for Trump. Now, it's a disgrace what's happening to our country. But they said, sir, it's something we have to do. We have to buy the plane. How much is it? $5.7 billion. So I said, that sounds like a lot for two planes. I don't care how good they are. And they do have all sorts of things on there that we will not discuss. But 5.7. So the head of Boeing came to see me, nice guy. And I said, this was before their tragedy. That was a tragedy that really destroyed. It was one of the great companies of our country and of the world. But the two planes that went down was absolutely, it was devastating. But this was before that. This was when they were thought to be the greatest company there is. And he came up to see me, the president. Sir, you're not signing the doc. I said, no, I'm not signing. Why? Because I think the price is too high. He said, how do you know? I said, because it was negotiated by Obama. And I said, therefore, I think it's too high, $5.7 billion. So he said, well, maybe we could take something off. I said, no, it's got to have a 3 in front of it. Got to have a 3. They said, what do you mean by that? It's got to have a 3. So he said, well, we can't do that. And he said, we'll take $200 million off. I said, no good. It's not even close. Nope, got to have a 3. I'm sorry. You got to get down to. So time went by, about a month, and the head of Boeing called me up, and he said, sir, make it $5.5 billion. Sounds like a lot for. So I said, no, got to have a 3. I'm sorry, no. Then we didn't hear from him again, and he came down to $4.9 billion. I said, you're getting close. Another billion, you're going to be there, right? And I didn't hear from him for a month. And then, you know, with deals, time goes by, then you forget about the thing. And even if you have a great memory, like I have a great memory, some of you people have great memory, but you sort of forget because you don't care. I said, got to have a 3, got to have a 3. So 2 months later, I get a call, head of Boeing. I said, what the hell does he want? I didn't think he was talking about the plane. And he said, sir, would like to make a deal. We're going to lower it to 4.2. I said, nope, got to have a 3. He said, 3.9999999.99. Okay? I said, you have a deal. And so we saved $1.7 billion, and that was done. And I watched the contract. It was carefully drawn. And they were committed to that deal. Now what happens is, if you're reading the paper over the last couple of weeks, Boeing is complaining that the deal is terrible for them, that they're going to lose $800 million on the deal. And I said, well, they have to lose that. But I understand the Biden administration is under negotiation to bring it up so they walk away with a big fat profit, but they shouldn't do that. That was the deal they made. And every time I see that, you know, it's actually a big point of contention right now, but every time I see it, more people should do that. We did that with many. I did that with ships. I'd call up out of nowhere to a company, nope, you got to lower your price. You don't even have to do a lot of research and development. They say, why? I say, the price is too high. They don't say, why? Have you studied? No. And they save hundreds. We save so much money with that. But with the planes, so now the planes are a big topic of conversation. And I'm very proud to say that nobody in this audience has ever heard of a thing like this with respect to the United States, because we always pay so much that everybody gets rich. All of these companies get rich, but somebody's out there watching for you, and that's what I'm doing. I'm watching for you. So, pretty cool story. Pretty cool. Right, Mike? Mike knows. You're a great congressman. We built hundreds of miles of border wall, and despite 2.5 years of Democrat lawsuits to stop it, we won all of them, over 11 suits. We completely finished our original border wall plan. Then we added much more wall in areas where we felt we needed it, and almost got that finished too. And then 3 weeks, all they needed was 3 weeks to complete everything, much more than we ever anticipated building. And they didn't want to do it. And I said, something strange here, because I never believed they wanted open borders. I never thought they were stupid, because look at the way they cheat on elections. Nobody can be stupid to cheat that well, right? They cheat so much, they cheat. Nobody's ever cheated like these people cheat, so they're not stupid. So the only other answer is they hate our country. There's only one. They're either stupid or they hate our country. But they wanted open borders to ravage our country, and every day the Democrat open border policies are getting innocent Americans killed. No, they didn't want to finish that wall. They wanted to leave parts of it open so that we could have open borders. And who would want open borders? Earlier this year in Philadelphia, a savage illegal alien criminal suspected of 2 prior stabbings shot an innocent 76-year-old man in the back of the head while the man was out simply walking his dog and walking around for a little exercise. Last year, an illegal alien in Montgomery County, I know it well, viciously murdered a 23-year-old woman with a knife, stabbing her repeatedly, again and again, in her back, and then throwing her body under a pile of trees. These are people coming into our country, and they're coming in by the hundreds of thousands. And don't believe when you hear 3 million people, it's 10 million people. It's far more than they're saying. And in Chester County, an illegal alien is charged with grabbing a 33-year-old beautiful young woman by the hair, pulling her to the ground and stabbing her to death in front of her 7-year-old daughter and 3-year-old son. These are animals. I remember when I used that term to describe some vicious killers, and Nancy Pelosi said, these are not animals, these are human beings. No, they're animals. And we better get tough, or we're not going to have a country left anymore. We're not going to have a country left. When Republicans retake Congress, we must immediately force the restoration of every single border security policy. We had the border done. All they had to do is come in and do nothing. Everything was great. We had the great Tom Homan. Has anyone looked at him, Central Casting? I'll tell you, people on the Border Patrol, including your great leader, who I happen to be in love with, I'm not sure if he's supposed to be as openly, so I don't even like to mention people's names nowadays. You know, if you mention names, they get visited by the FBI. If somebody's doing a good job on the border, they get visited by the FBI. If somebody's looking at voter integrity because they want honest elections, they get visited by the FBI with all sorts of subpoenas. By the way, a woman who's incredible, Engelbrecht, do you know her? Catherine Engelbrecht. And another gentleman who is fantastic and working, these are patriots, they spent a year going over hundreds of thousands of hours of tape all over the country, and they found that ballot boxes have been stuffed. You heard about it, 2,000 mules. Catherine Engelbrecht. Well, they came and they arrested her 4 days ago. Can you believe it? And she's now in she's in a Houston prison, along with another great patriot. And you know what they did? They went out and they saw illegal ballot stuffing. Guys walking out of cars, looking up. Who walks out when you walk out to vote? You don't walk out like, let's see, where's the camera? What's going on? They did. They did. Some of them voted as much as 28 times a day in 28 different locations. It's a disgrace, and we got to get her out. She's got to come out. She's got to get out. This was not in her agenda as she was growing up, going to good schools, having parents that loved her. She said, this was never in my agenda, never a word in the vocabulary. Prison was not a word in her vocabulary. She's an incredible person, and so are the people that drew the vote that worked with her. Can you imagine? They put her in prison. She's in jail. What a disgrace. Our country's going to hell in so many different ways, and that's, you have murderers all over the street, you have drug dealers, and you have everything, rapists, you have everything, and they take an unbelievable American patriot along with others, including January 6th people, okay? Including January 6th people, and they got treated like nobody's ever been treated in this country. And yet, BLM and Antifa burn down cities, kill people, and nothing happens to them. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Two levels of justice. It's no justice. It's the opposite of justice. And I said the other day to Mike, and I'm talking about our great congressman, this Mike. Where is he? Will you stand up, Mike? Stand up. The Kelly man. But he's never seen anything like it. We've never seen anything like what's going on. And the people aren't going to take it anymore. They're not going to take it anymore. If we're going to make America great again, we first have to make America safe again. Under the radical left, crazy Democrats, the streets of our cities are ruled by bloodthirsty gangs and violent criminals. You know that. You see what's going on. I've never seen anything like it. You turn on television, people being pushed in front of subway trains, and nothing happens to the people. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Much of the crime wave is caused by drug dealers who, during the course of their lives, will kill an average of 500 American citizens. And I'm calling right now for the death penalty for drug dealers and human traffickers, which will, upon its passage, reduce drug distribution and crime by more than 75% on day one. Think of that. Think of that. When I was in the White House, you know, we'd form, and we did a good job. We got it down 18%. That's good. But it's nothing. What about the rest? We'd set up blue ribbon committees to work on the cartels and some of the most vicious people, and by the way, smart, street smart, like you have never seen before. They're making billions and billions of dollars. People say that our corporations aren't run as well as some of these cartels in terms of business. No, it's a terrible thing. But we'd set up a blue ribbon committee headed up by some nice people from different cities, socialites and very fine people. And they don't have a clue, but they love being on the committee because they want some publicity for themselves, right? And some of them want to do a job. But as soon as they look at one of these monsters, they would freeze. They wouldn't know what to do. No, we have to bring our law enforcement back in and our military if necessary. When I went to China, because I actually, until the China virus came in, I had a great relationship with President Xi. He's now president for life. I call him king. He says, no, I am not king. I am president. I said, no, you're president for life. Therefore, you're the king as far as I'm concerned. But I had a great relationship with him. And I said to him, and you've heard me tell the story a couple of times, not much, but I had a great relationship with President Xi. We made an unbelievable trade deal for our farmers, our manufacturers, $50 billion a year they have to purchase. People don't like to write the fake news. Ooh, look at all of them. They must think I'm going to announce for president tonight. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of, oh, look at all those cameras. Oz, look at those cameras. Look, stand up. Look at those cameras. We want Oz to get some of the juice because he has to win. You know, I'll tell you what, this could be the vote that's going to make the difference between a country and not a country, because it could be 51, it could be 50, it could be 49, and if it's 49 for the Republicans, this country, I don't know if it's going to live for another 2 years. That's what's happening. So you got to get out and vote for this man. He's a good man. He's a good man. I was thinking about that just a little while ago. Somebody was on television on the way in. I'm watching. I'm very spoiled. I have a nice plane with a couple of little televisions I'm watching. And somebody said that, you know, the vote in Pennsylvania for Senate could be the difference between having the majority or not. And he's a very good man, and we're going to talk about him in a second. But you really have to get out. You have to get out. You have to vote, or we're going to have a problem. Because our country has never been so bad as it is right now. It's never been in this position. We're not respected any place. We have a country, as I say, in decline, right? We have a country in decline, and we'll be talking about it. It's amazing that we love each other. We're having such a good time, and yet the subject is so negative. There's nothing good to say about what's happening in our country, but on Tuesday night, I think there's going to be incredible things to say. I really believe it. Right, Kelly, right? Yeah, I think we're going to have incredible, but you got to get them in. If you want safety for your family and security for your community, you need to vote every single Democrat out of office and vote for Republicans up and down the line. One of the worst and most sinister aspects of the Biden administration is their complete and total corruption of our justice system and of the rule of law. Nobody ever thought this happened. I had a guy named Bill Barr. He was afraid to talk to anybody because they were going to impeach him. He was afraid. And I don't blame him. They wanted to impeach him. They said, we're going to impeach him. Sir, they're going to impeach me. I said, so what? I got impeached twice. My poll numbers went out. But they're going to impeach me. So he didn't want to look at election fraud. You know, all of a sudden they said, who the hell would impeach this guy? He's the greatest thing we have. But we need tough people. We need smart people. We need people that are willing to fight. Before our very eyes, Biden and his left-wing handlers are turning America into a police state like something straight out of a communist country. That's what's happening. We really skipped over. I used to say socialist. We skipped over socialism. That took about 2 weeks. We're long gone from socialism. We're into communism. This is getting to be what they're doing with the Catherine Engelbrecht and everybody. This is like a communist country, and the people, we're not standing for a communist country. We came too far because, honestly, they have nothing going. Their policy is crazy. The only thing they do well is misinformation and cheat on elections. That's the only thing, and they're really good at that. The radical Democrats are locking up pro-life, and you know this, you see this, the pro-life activists. They're being locked up all over the place. They're persecuting their political opponents. I wonder who. Nobody. A friend of mine said, there's never been a president that's been treated like you after he gets, you know, when you get out of office, you go out, these guys come at you left and right on such bullshit, you've never seen anything like it. They're spying on their political rivals. Remember, they spied on my campaign. Can you imagine if we would have spied on Obama's campaign? Can you imagine? President Barack Hussein Obama. No, could you imagine if we would have spied on Obama's campaign or Biden's campaign? I don't know. They might not have known the difference. Who the hell knows? I don't know. It's the craziest thing. They spied on my campaign. That would have been death penalty. They would have brought back the electric chair at least for a couple of evenings, got rid of a couple of them. And with us, oh, it's okay, it's fine. No, we're not going to let this happen anymore. They silenced dissent in using the full force of government, law enforcement, and the media, because the media, those people right there, they're corrupt, largely corrupt. They are truly the enemy of the people. They are. They used to be the police. They used to be the watchmen. They used to be the police, though. They would go and look at corruption. There's corruption on the Democrat side. They don't do anything. If there's no corruption on the Republican side, they try making it up. No, they have so lost their way. It's not all of them. They have some incredible reporters. Like, you know, as an example, the Pulitzer Prize. They got a Pulitzer Prize. New York Times gets a Pulitzer Prize. Washington Post gets a Pulitzer Prize for outstanding reporting on the Russia hoax, okay? But it turned out they were exactly wrong. It's now been, as they use the term, debunked. And yet they have a Pulitzer Prize. So I called for, and we'll be suing at some time. Right now I'm into so many suits, but I'm going to drop another one very soon on these characters. No, but think of it. Well, I'm doing what Bill Barr should have. Bill Barr should have been bringing these suits, but he didn't have the guts to bring them. So I have no choice. But think of it. They make up a story. It's all made up by them. And then they get Pulitzer Prizes, and they were wrong. And even the Times and even the Washington Post now admit that it was wrong, it was fake, it was a phony deal. They've admitted it. So they should turn back their Pulitzer Prizes, right? So let's see what the courts have to say. We need judges and justices, but we need judges and justices with strength, with courage. Because you just had a decision recently that basically said we were all right. 2 weeks ago, a week ago, your just about all Democrat Supreme Court of Pennsylvania said they were right. The 2020 election, with respect to the ballots and everything else, the 2020 election was not right. It was not right. It was not allowed. And you know what? Remember, at like 9:30 in the evening with 73% of the vote in, I was up by almost 1 million votes, and then all of a sudden, like magic, it disappeared. And I'm so worried about Oz and Doug Mastriano. We can't let this happen. But so they make a ruling, and essentially, they don't want to say this, but they said Trump was 100% right. The election was rigged and stolen, and we're not going to let it happen again. So from now on, No, they missed the point. No, they're screaming. They missed the point, Mike Kelly. They missed the point. No, we're not going to let it happen again. So from now on, you can't do all the things they did to us because they were illegal. So then I said, well, what about 2020? No, we'll start from now. So they cheated like dogs. And your all Democrat, mostly, I think just about all Democrat Supreme Court, said you can't do it anymore. I said, what about 2020? Overturn the election. You should overturn. And it's not just here. It's other states were just as bad, and in some cases worse. The election was rigged and stolen. It's a shame. It's a shame. But the court ruled, and I kept saying, oh, this is great. We won. We won. You know, I'm going, we won, we won. And then it said, but we'll leave 2020 stand. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Every freedom-loving American needs to understand the time to stand up to this growing left-wing tyranny is right now. If you want to save your rights and liberties, you have to start by dealing a really humiliating rebuke to the radical left in this upcoming election on Tuesday. You got to get out, and I like to say get out on Tuesday because it's harder for them to cheat if you go and vote in person. If you send in those ballots, that stuff, if you send it in, it's better to vote if you can on Tuesday. If you can't, send it in anyway. This Tuesday, you have to crush the communists at the ballot box. You have to. Remember their statement. The vote counter is always more important than the candidate. And that's what happened. We beat this guy so badly, but the vote counters, they're crooked as hell. These people are crooked as hell. And that's what we have. And we ought to get the McConnells of the world to do their job and not allow it. You know, Mitch McConnell and his wife, Coco Chow, Coco. We got to get the McConnells of the world to do their job and not let it. We want voter ID. We want same-day voting. We want paper ballots. Very simple stuff. Save a lot of money, too. For 6 straight years, the witch hunts, hoaxes, and abuses have been coming fast and furious. First, we learned they spied on my campaign. Then they lied to Congress and lied to the FISA court like nobody's ever lied before, and created a fake dossier. It turned out to be a fake dossier. How about me going home to our great First Lady when I first heard about this? Say, First Lady, I promise it didn't take place. And then they admitted it now. It didn't take place. It was fake. And it was made up by crooked Hillary Clinton, the Democrat National Committee, and the Democrat Party. No, but think about it. Think about it. And yet, after all of that, these same people keep coming back. It's Shifty Adam Schiff and the whole group. They're really sleaze. Adam Schiff made up my phone call. He said, Trump said all of this horrible stuff. And he imitated me. He went into Congress and he made like I was speaking. And he said 8 times a quid pro quo. And he did that and this and that to the president of Ukraine, Zelensky. I like Zelensky for one particular reason, because he said that's false. Would have been very easy for him to say, oh, I felt so intimidated, but it wasn't. He was very honorable about that, I must tell you. But Shifty Schiff, went before Congress and spewed out a speech. Unfortunately, after he made that speech, I said, we have recorded the phone call. And it was a totally phony speech. I said, oh, this is great. Now we have Schiff. And you know what happened? They said, you can't get anybody if they're speaking, even if it's total lies in Congress. They're immune from liability. I said, wait a minute. He made up a story. He's a fake. He's a sleazeball. He's just a sleazeball. They said, I'm sorry, sir. He made it in the halls of Congress. And you can lie in the halls of Congress, and there's no retribution. Can you believe it? All I can say is thank goodness we had that conversation transcribed, because it was a perfect phone call. Remember, it was Russia, 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 Ukraine, 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 and then the Mueller witch hunt where the conclusion was no collusion. And I always say, do you think Biden could say that? The conclusion was no collusion. You think Biden's going to get that out? I don't think so. And then you had the impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2, the censorship of the Biden family corruption story. You remember that? The laptop from hell, where the FBI went to Facebook and said it's Russian disinformation, even though they knew that it was a legitimate horror show for Hunter Biden and for his family. I don't know what the hell happened with this, how you left it. He left it with a gentleman who's been abused because he turned it in. It's an amazing thing. And they say that would have made the great pollsters said that would have made a 17-point difference. Now, we didn't need the 17 points. We didn't need anything. We got more votes than any sitting president in history. We didn't need that. But it would have made a 17-point difference. And then it was the January 6th Unselect Committee of Political Hacks and Thugs. Oh, they subpoenaed me. Did you hear this? They subpoenaed me. They don't ever investigate the one thing that people want to know. That's the election, the theft of the election. That's the one thing they don't want to talk about that. And they don't want to talk about the fact that Nancy Pelosi is in charge of security. And 3 days before, because I felt in my blood a lot of people were coming down, we offered 10,000 to 20,000 soldiers if you need them, and she turned it down. They don't want to talk, and the mayor of D.C. They don't want to talk about those two subjects, but especially they don't want to talk about the reason the people were there, a rigged and stolen election. And also the appalling conduct. I mean, if you look, the appalling conduct, because most of it's coming out of Washington, of the racist and totally incompetent New York State Attorney General. Her name is Letitia Peekaboo James. And she's presiding over record numbers right now. She is the worst attorney general in the country, although I don't know, maybe her or maybe Shapiro. Shapiro's pretty bad. We have to be totally honest here. Shapiro's been pretty bad. He's presiding over lots of murders also, but she's presiding over the biggest number of murders, records, murder, rape, drug deals, and every other form of crime in our once great New York State, but only spends her time going after Trump. I'm going to get Trump. Did you ever see? I'm going to get Trump. In the meantime, people are being murdered all over the place. They're being shoved into subways. This week, at her request, a radical left lunatic judge. This is a judge that hates Trump more than he's ever hated anybody or anything in his life. He's a lunatic. Started a process of confiscation akin to Venezuela, Cuba, or Soviet Union. But don't worry, we'll be okay. We've been fighting these guys for 6 years. We'll be okay, Uncle Sam. I don't want your help. Likewise, a local left-wing DA in Atlanta is after me for an absolutely perfect phone call. I would say even more perfect, Uncle Sam, than the call I made to the president of Ukraine. I believe it was a more perfect call. It was about election integrity, even while Atlanta has among the highest murder rates of any city in the country, worse than Chicago per capita. All of these local Democrat-run cases are being directed by Washington. That's pretty bad, isn't it? Think of it. Wouldn't it be nice to have a nice, easy life? I had such a great life. But you know, I'm happy as hell I did it because I'm doing it for you, and we're going to straighten out this mess of a country. We're going to straighten it out. We're going to straighten it out. Man, that is a, look at the people. Hey, Oz, if you have these people vote, you can't lose. Where's Doug? Where is Doug? Doug, look at, they go back, you can't even see. Wow. You know what I ask these guys all the time? Go back. You know what I ask all the time? All the time. I say, please tell them. Look at those cameras. I say, turn them around all the way back as far as the eye can see. Turn them to see the people. Now, today they announced they had 5,000 people for Obama and Biden. They didn't have, it looked like a crowd of 200 people. But we have tens of thousands of people here. If these people vote for you, Doug, and if they vote for you, Oz, you can't lose. You can't lose. You got to get out and vote for them. But we have a weaponized Department of Justice and weaponized FBI, including, of course, the raid on Mar-a-Lago, my beautiful house. The raid on Mar-a-Lago. That's in the document hoax case. Violating my Fourth Amendment rights like nobody's ever been violated before. They even went through the First Lady's closet. They're looking for a document in her, let me be nice, in her dress. Maybe this attack. Or a document in one of her shoes, her beautiful high heel. Now, what they did is so terrible. It's amazing. And something that really, it's never happened to a president before. The radical left thinks by doing all of these wicked and venomous things that they're making us weaker, but actually they're making us stronger and more united. In fact, right now, remember I always used to talk about my poll numbers? Remember I'd come out in 2016 and in 2020, because in 2020 they were actually better. But I used to come out and it used to drive the fake news crazy. But today, I have the highest poll numbers I've ever had, perhaps partly because the Democrats are doing so badly running our country and people want our tremendous success of no inflation, energy independence, military victory. Remember, I defeated ISIS 100%. Remember? Al-Baghdadi and so many other things, including crime. We had it way down. But we have the best poll numbers. Where are they? Are they putting them up on the screen? I think so. Put them up. Look. Yeah, we're putting them up. We're winning big, big, big in the Republican Party for the nomination like nobody's ever seen before. Let's see, there it is. Trump at 71, Ron DeSanctimonious at 10%, Mike Pence at 7. Oh, Mike's doing better than I thought. Liz Cheney, there's no way she's at 4%. There's no way. There's no way. But we're at 71 to 10 to 7 to 4. Ted Cruz is doing a good job, by the way. He didn't like me for a while, but we got to be friends, right? Going to put him on the Supreme Court. If I put him on the Supreme Court, you know the nicest thing with Ted, because he's a tough cookie and he's controversial. If I put him on the Supreme Court, I would have had 100% of the people in the Senate voting in favor to move him out, okay? Even the Democrats would have voted for him, okay? But he's great, and he's smart, and he's good. Nikki Haley. Tim Scott is great, by the way. Okay, look at the next one. What's the next one? Go ahead. Trump versus, this is Nevada. Trump us up 12. That's very good. And I think that Lombardo is doing very well. He's up 5. And Laxalt, who's a great guy, is up 5. Go ahead, put the next one up. Let's do this. This is sort of fun. These just came out over the last short while. Ohio. I'm going to be in Ohio for J.D. Vance, right? Going to be in Ohio for J.D. So you have the Ohio general election, Trump at 55, Biden at 35, plus 20. But we won Ohio in a landslide. They actually counted the votes accurately. We won Ohio, but now we're up at 20, which is much higher than it was even for the election. Go ahead, what's the next one? This stuff is great. What's the next one? Okay, North Carolina. Oh, we love it. Donald Trump, 51, Joe Biden, 40, plus 11. Oz, I want to get you these numbers. These are good numbers for you. You should be leading by more than anybody. You're so good. Go ahead, what's next? We're leading big in North Carolina. Laura, by the way, from North Carolina, she loves Eric's wife, Laura. She's so terrific. She's done a great job. She's been great. Then we have, and by the way, Ted Budd, what a great candidate he's been too. Trump, 47, Biden, 41. What's that? That's a general election presentation. Oh, I see. So I'm 47, 41 in the general. I'm not sure I'm happy with that number. How the hell? I don't know if I like that number. How the hell did that one get up there? I'm only leading by 6 in the general election. I think that's a mistake, but Rasmussen's very good, so who knows? Go ahead, put it up, please. Is that it? Okay, here we go. General election. Oh, that's better. Donald Trump, 50. Biden, 37, plus 13. That's what I like to hear. That's right. How the hell did he get to 37? Who are the people that voted? Who are the people that voted for him at 37? Who the hell voted? Did anybody here vote for Biden? I'll tell you what, if you did, you don't have the courage in this group to admit it. All right, what's the next one? Is there a next one? Let's go, put it up. General election, Trump, Biden, where is that? Let me see. Missouri! I love Missouri. You have a good candidate for the Senate there, and you have a great senator in there right now, too. But you have a very good Eric Schmidt, who's, I think, great. He's going to win big. He better win big. They all have to win. Donald Trump, 53, Biden, 37, plus 16. That's pretty good. Missouri, great place. Eric Schmidt, he's going to win. And we have these polls are all like this. And these are polls, I don't know who these companies are. These are not Trump polls. I think Trump polls would be better, actually. But these are big. Up 16 in Missouri. What a great state. Any more? Do you have any more? Is this interesting? It's sort of interesting. Any more? Oklahoma. We love Oklahoma. Great senators in Oklahoma. So you have Donald Trump at 59, Joe Biden at 30, up 29 points. Now, in Oklahoma, something very special. I love Oklahoma, and they love my stance on energy and other things, I think. I love that state. But you have 77 districts. Ronald Reagan has always had the best. He's at 56. He won 56 out of 77. You know how many I won, Uncle Sam? 77 out of 77. It's never happened before, and it happened twice. So I think they like me in Oklahoma. The only place they don't like me is a place called Washington, D.C. Anyway, that's sort of cool, right? Those polls just came out. Anyway, I figured I'd tell you, so the fake news when they give you their fake stuff. But those are Those are great polls. And I really believe that your polls here are going to be like that. I think you're going to see some really great polls. Doug, I think you're going to see numbers that you're going to be surprised at. And Oz, I think you're going to see numbers. And all of our great congressmen, many of whom are here. And we're going to introduce in a second to every citizen who is appalled by the radical left's lawlessness and corruption, and they are corrupt. This election is your chance to make your voice heard. With your vote, you can reject left-wing maniacs. You can reject left-wing tyranny and proudly declare that America will always remain a free country. We're not going to remain a free country. When you see what's happening with the FBI and with justice, we're not going to remain a free country. Now, maybe things will happen that'll free it up. But I'll tell you, we have to do it. We want to do it at the voter booth. And you have your chance, so we can't blow this chance. You could take the 5 worst presidents in American history and put them together, and they would not have done the damage Joe Biden has done to our nation in less than 2 short years. Think of it. We're talking about less than 2 years, and our nation is like destroyed. We have a little clip. You know, we bought these beautiful screens. It cost a fortune. It costs too much to rent them. I said, if you rent them for 3 things, I could own them. So I said, let's buy them if you don't mind. So we bought them, and take a look at this clip. This is on Joe Biden.
How would you say your mental focus is?
It's focused. I haven't, look.
Let's get ready to bumble!
I think it's a right for people to have bad health care. True international effort to pressure. God, I can't believe I said that. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word.
Y'all ready for this?
I was going to put him. And Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys. Wait. All men and women created by the go. You know the thing. If it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to. Anyway. We went for 2 reasons. One, to come on, man. The guy who runs that outfit over there. I've had a couple Washington, but the nature. Not Representative Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here. What am I doing here? I'm talking. Yeah. I got hairy legs that turn. That. Thank you for tolerance and listening to me. I appreciate it very much. What?
So, in many ways, it's really not funny. It's sad because we could end up in a nuclear war, and this would be a war like no other. The power of these weapons, what's going on, and the word nuclear was never mentioned, never supposed to be mentioned. We could end up in a nuclear war. The way they're handling things right now with Russia every day mentioning the nuclear word. No, it never happened like this before. And we did a great job with North Korea, you remember. With Kim Jong-un, we did a great job. That could have ended up in a nuclear war. If that administration had kept going, you would have had your nuclear war. But we're in the greatest danger, I think, right now, and I look at the congressmen and senators and all these very important political people. I believe this is the greatest danger that this country has faced from its founding because of the power of the weaponry. And we have a man that doesn't know what the hell he's doing. It's a very, very sad situation. That would have never happened. Ukraine would have never happened. Russia would have never, ever even thought to have gone in. One of the reasons they went in, though, the energy, the barrels of oil at $112, $115 has never been anything like it. So much money. We had it down to $40. We had gasoline at $1.87 a gallon. Today it hit $8 in parts of California. It's going to hit you again because they're going to stop taking out of the strategic reserves, which we largely filled up. We filled it up, and now it's down to almost empty. Not supposed to be used to get votes for an election. It's supposed to be used for national security. Under my leadership and with the help of Pennsylvania energy workers, we had, for the first time, American energy independence, and we were soon going to be dominant. We were going to be bigger than Russia and Saudi Arabia combined. Now Biden is begging and pleading with OPEC, but instead of increasing productions, they actually cut it back. They said, we're not going to increase, I'm sorry, we're going to cut it back. Who would think that this is possible for this country to be talked to that way, treated that way? Under my leadership, we gave you the largest tax cuts and regulation cuts in American history. By contrast, the radical Democrat Congress passed one of the largest tax hikes in American history. Under the administration, our wonderful administration, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world with no inflation. Biden and the Democrat Congress created the worst inflation in 50 years, 9.1%, but it's much higher than that. It's not 9.1. I believe it's double that, and I hope you're not counting on having turkey for Thanksgiving, because number one, you can't get a turkey, and number two, if you do, it will cost approximately 3 times what you paid last year. So good luck on Thanksgiving. But if you buy ham, that's going to be double. You'll make a much better deal. And bacon's not too good either. I think bacon went up more than all of them, right? Now our country's in trouble. I rebuilt our military, including our nuclear capability and the creation of Space Force. First time in 79 years that anything like that has happened. And it's lucky we did it, because we were getting left at the gate by Russia and by China, and now we're leading. They're doing a great job at Space Force. They surrendered our strength and turned Afghanistan into the greatest humiliation our country has ever had. We've never had anything like it. Think of it, leaving $85 billion worth of the best military equipment in the world behind, and more importantly, leaving American citizens behind, and having 13 of our great people, soldiers, killed, and many wounded so horrifically. They don't talk about that. No legs, no arms, your face blown to pieces. Nobody talks about that. I talk about that. There was no reason. We didn't lose one soldier in 18 months in Afghanistan. I spoke to the head of the Taliban. And the press went crazy. Why do you speak to the head of the Taliban, they asked. I said, because that's the one that are making those decisions. And I said to Abdul, don't kill any of our soldiers. Don't kill any of our soldiers. And then I said some other things that I won't repeat here, but it was a strong conversation. We didn't lose one soldier in 18 months, and we were getting out of Afghanistan 21 years, spending a fortune, $50 billion a year. But we were getting out, but we were going to get out with strength and respect. We weren't going to take our soldiers out first. We were going to take our soldiers out last. And we were going to keep Bagram, that's a big Air Force base, because it's 1 hour away from China where they make their nuclear weapons. But we left in the dark of night with the lights on. We left the dogs too, by the way, for those people that say we brought out the dogs. No, we didn't. They left the dogs. A lot of dog lovers. They say, what happened to all the dogs? They left them. But we took this situation, and I don't think there's ever been a greater humiliation, but we didn't fire any of the generals that were so incompetent or any of the people involved in that horrible decision to take our soldiers out first. They were afraid of us. They were afraid of our F-16s. Now they own the F-16s. We gave them everything. I think it's the greatest humiliation. They understand it better than anybody that this country has ever seen. The election was rigged and stolen, and now our country is being destroyed. I ran twice, I won twice, and did much better the second time than I did the first, getting millions and millions of more votes than we got in 2016, and likewise getting more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country by far. And now, in order to make our country more successful and safe and glorious, I'm just going to tell you, I really believe, I'm not going to say it right now, but I'm telling you, Uncle Sam said, no, you are. Uncle Sam just said, no, you are going to say it. Uncle Sam, you'll be very happy. So everybody, I promise you, in the very next very, very, very short period of time, you're going to be so happy, okay? You're going to be so happy. And one of the reasons I don't want to do that right now, because I'd like to do it. But you know what? And I really mean this. I want to have the focus tonight be on Dr. Oz and on Doug Mastriano, because we have to win. All right? I want the focus to be on Dr. Oz and Doug and the others that are running, but most of you guys are in pretty good shape. I'd say that Kelly's in pretty good shape, right? What are you leading by, 39 points or something? He's leading by about 39. So I want the focus to be on them, absolutely. All right, now you can sit down, everybody. That was quite exciting. Very, very soon. You're going to be surprised at how soon. But first we have to win a historic victory for Republicans on November 8th. 3 days from now, Pennsylvania has the chance to elect an amazing patriot as your next governor, Doug Mastriano, a man I got to know very well. I got to know him and his incredible wife very well. She's incredible. He is a tough former Army colonel. He took no guff. You weren't big on taking guff, were you? For 3 decades, he was a real great soldier, highest level. Doug is a fighter and a warrior for the America First agenda and for the people of this great Commonwealth. He is the only person in this race standing between your family and Pennsylvania being destroyed by violent crime. Your crime is destroying you here. And your guy is a disaster. Your people, your Shapiro guy is a disaster as the Attorney General. But you have soaring taxes and left-wing anarchy. That's what's happening on your streets. As a state senator, Doug strongly opposed COVID lockdowns. I got to know him very well, because he was more than anybody else. I mean, he was out there in front of everything with all of the things that all of you want, that everybody in the Commonwealth wants. But COVID lockdowns, he was opposed to it. The mandates, he was fighting more than anybody else. He boldly defended election integrity like nobody. And he was an unwavering champion of Pennsylvania energy jobs, and now they want to end all of your energy. They want to end the whole deal. As your governor, Doug will clean up Harrisburg, and he'll stand up to the special interests. He'll protect our workers, and Doug will not rest until he has restored public safety to Pennsylvania. Doug is running against your far-left radical Attorney General, Josh Shapiro, and I wrote this myself, because this guy's bad news. I wrote this myself, one of the most unsuccessful attorney generals in the country. I happen to think the one in New York is even worse, Doug, I tell you. She's a disaster. She doesn't know what a violent crime is, especially when it comes over here to that words, those 2 words, violent crime. How about the 2 words that Biden came out with? You remember? Remember the 2 words that turned out to be a little different? Violent crime, 2 words, where Pennsylvania is setting records, and you're setting records in violent crime. And voter integrity, which doesn't even exist in the state, where your Democrat Supreme Court just stated that it was corrupt. It was totally corrupt. And on Shapiro's watch, as your state's top law enforcement officer, Pennsylvania is being ransacked, looted, torn up, and brutalized by the radical Democrat policies of the socialist or communist left. I say communist left now. Under Shapiro, murders in Philadelphia have soared, and despite being given special authority to fight crime in Philadelphia, Shapiro, this guy, he's got a good line of crap. That's about it. He's done nothing. This guy has done nothing. And the press protects him. Look at those people back there. I don't think they love our country. They're the enemy of the people. No, and I'll tell you, I did this myself because you got to get this man elected. You got to get him elected. You got to straighten out this state. During the 2020 riot, Shapiro left your homes and businesses at the mercy of rioters and anarchists and arsonists. It was a disaster, and he's going to do it again. He's not going to do a damn thing. He's weak and he's ineffective. During COVID, Shapiro sadistically used his office to close your children's schools and to force masks to be strapped around their faces, which really set them back. Look at how it set them back. If Shapiro is elected, your jobs will disappear, your property values will crater, and your communities will be taken over by crime and by chaos. A vote for Josh Shapiro is a vote to destroy Pennsylvania's future. A vote for Doug Mastriano is a vote to restore safety, opportunity, and hope. Doug, please come up. Please come up. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the great state of Pennsylvania, Mr. President. Pennsylvania loves you. We need you. He was such a great president that even Vladimir Putin behaved for 4 years. I mean, it's amazing. Absolutely fantastic. Pennsylvania, 3 days away from victory. We're going to take back our state, restore freedom and hope to this beautiful land of ours. We think about the guy I'm running against. He is a disaster, Mr. President. Record homicides in Philadelphia. Carjacking is 1,000, 2,000 shooting victims. It's worse than Afghanistan. I mean, it's a disaster. Failure is not an option. We have to win. The future for our children and our freedom is at stake. But I know in 3 days there's going to be a new day in PA. I know. We're going to rise up. Mr. President, when you were in charge, we could afford gasoline and heating our homes. And so Pennsylvania is going to stand in a gap. On day one of my administration, we're going to drill and dig like never before. Oh, yeah. On day one, all masking and jab requirements will end forever in Pennsylvania. You choose. On day one, woke is broke. That's right. CRT is done. That's right. We're going to defend our children. This graphic porn in the schools will be out of there. That's right. You're going to be able to choose to walk as free people. It's going to be amazing. We're blessed to be standing here in this great state where our nation was birthed in 1776, where the light of liberty was lit. A new birth of freedom in 1863. And Mr. President, we remember on that dark day on the 9/11, you showed your leadership skills in that darkest time to give us hope in our country. Thank you for setting an example in our hour of need. Thank you for taking the shots, you and your family, for standing in a gap for us. It's incredible the sacrifice you've gone through here. And so, we're looking for a new day in PA. Mr. President, just a couple minutes down the road here is Somerset County, where Flight 93 crashed, and we remember Todd Beamer, what he said, and Pennsylvania's going to say that in 3 days. Let's roll. Thank you, sir.
What a great guy he is. Get out and vote for him. Don't forget, the money they poured into this race against Doug is crazy. It's crazy. Tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars, and Doug has to do it the old-fashioned way with good policy And he's a great man. He's a strong man. Get out and vote for him. You know, it's unfair. You turn on television, all you see are these Shapiro commercials, paid for by Washington, by the way. And it's a disgrace, but you have to get him in. And of equal importance, a friend of mine, I've known him so long, I was on his show, he examined me, can you believe? And I liked him, except that he had to take that one little shot. He said, but if he lost 20 pounds, that would be excellent. So I never liked him as much as I should, but I got back to liking him really well when I saw his policies and all of the other things. But, you know, he was a great doctor. I don't know, people don't really realize that. They think of him with the television stuff. But he was considered a great, great doctor. People would go to see him, and other doctors at the highest levels would go to see him. Dr. Mehmet Oz was a great, great doctor, and he'll be an incredible senator, and he'll be focusing on all of the things we're talking about with the crime and the inflation, but it'll also be focused on your health care, because your health care can be much better. It can be much better. We spend more money than any other country, but we don't have, by any ways, the great health care. Like school, we spend more money per pupil than any other country, and yet you're at the bottom of the list. He'll be fantastic on that. We don't even talk about that, but there's nobody that knows more about that subject in the Senate than Dr. Oz. He'll vote to end Joe Biden's socialist spending spree, and he'll fight runaway inflation. And he's a strong man. He's a strong guy, and he's quick and sharp, and he'll win all of his points. He's going to win. He's going to win all of his points when he's in Washington, and that's going to inure to the benefit of you and all of those people back there that I would wish the press would turn those cameras and show. I just wish. Look at that. You can't even see the end of them, and they never do it. They never do it. It's so sad to see that. Thank you, everybody. As far as the eye can see, over there, too, you can't even see. I wish, I always hate Oz when we give the press this prime location, and then we have people that have to stand behind them. They should stand in front of them, but the cameras only have so much capability, so I don't know what the hell it is. But I wish he could turn. You know, I never knew, when I first started in 2015, and I go to these big rallies, because the rallies have always been big. I think they're bigger now than they've ever been. You want to know? You know why? Because people want hope. They want change, and they want hope. I really believe it. I think, Uncle Sam, I think they're bigger than they ever were. But I used to marvel at the fact that I had these massive crowds, and the cameras would never show them. And I figured that the cameras are, you know, hardened steel, and they couldn't make the turn. And then I realized when there was a fight in the back, the cameras would bend like a pretzel. And anything bad, if there was somebody that shouted something that was not so nice, the cameras would turn around in 15 different things. And then I said, well, that's not the reason. They refuse to show the size of our crowds, and I don't understand why. And it's actually good for them. I was very good at getting good television ratings. By the way, I still am. Did you see where all these people that don't like us, they're dying? I saw Jimmy Kimmel said that his show's practically dead because nobody that likes Trump will watch. And guess what? That turned out to be a majority of the people. The show is dead, and so are the other ones. And Greg Gutfeld on cable has the #1 evening show. That's great, right? Think of that. And we do have to give our respect to a man named Sean Hannity, because he's in there. He's been pitching. He's been pitching. But all of them, Tucker, Laura, they've done great. Even if I don't like Fox so much, I tell you, they do have some great people over there. But Dr. Oz will vote to terminate Biden's open borders insanity, restore the southern border, and stop the fentanyl that is just pouring into our country and poisoning our youth. Dr. Oz will be tough and strong, and he's so smart, and he'll vote to support our police like nobody that you know, and he'll get the money that we want, all the things that I did for them. I took all of the auxiliary and extra equipment that we had all over the country that was in storehouses and warehouses all over the country, and I sent it out to police forces all over the United States, and the Democrats were furious. They said you shouldn't. A lot of it was protective equipment. They said you shouldn't give it because it looks too militaristic. I said, no, I'm trying to save policemen's and women's lives. But we gave billions and billions of equipment that would still be sitting there growing dust. And Oz will vote, and very strongly, to keep violent criminals in jail where they belong, not on the streets. You have a district attorney here who's become a legend, where somebody shoots somebody through the head, and by the time the evening rolls around, he's already out on the streets again. What the hell is going on? I mean, your guy is at a level that I guess nobody, we have a couple of them, but nobody's ever seen anything like it. A man kills somebody and he's out on the streets within 24 hours. All of that will stop. I know it's going to stop with Doug, and it's going to stop with Oz, and they'll get it to work. Pennsylvania desperately needs Dr. Oz in the U.S. Senate. He could very well be the tie-breaking vote, as I said, and he will be a tie-breaker. I think it could very well be. He'll be. You cannot let this state be lost. And by the way, he is so much better than the senator that he's replacing. I cannot tell you, Toomey. This guy is like 10 times better than Toomey. Toomey he didn't want to charge China tariffs. He didn't know why. But this is a man who's going to be an unbelievable senator. You know, Dr. Oz is running against somebody named John Fetterman. He's become quite famous. By far the most extreme and unhinged left-wing politician ever to run for office in Pennsylvania, and maybe in the country. By his own admission, John Fetterman wants to release 1/3 of Pennsylvania's prison population in the midst of a crime wave. You have a crime wave here. And he wants to release 1/3, but it would be much more than that in his ideal dream. And he wants to abolish cash bail. No cash bail, no nothing. Fetterman said that if he had one wish, he would wish to end life sentences without parole for convicted murderers and rapists. He publicly bragged that his goal is to get as many criminals out of jail as he possibly can. These are killers. These are killers and drug lords. These are rapists at the highest level, the most vicious rapists in the world. He wants them to get out. As your Lieutenant Governor, Fetterman supported releasing a man who stabbed his girlfriend's mother to death with a pair of scissors, and a criminal who killed an innocent man with a garden shears in a parking garage and violently stabbed him again and again and again. Fetterman said he was happy to get him released. He wants him released. Fetterman will mean death and despair for every community in your Commonwealth. Fetterman proudly supports deadly sanctuary cities, and he signed a pledge to ban fracking for you energy people, and I'm a big energy person. That's why I believe we won Pennsylvania twice. We did much better, by the way, the second time, you know that. In Pennsylvania, too, not only in the election, but in Pennsylvania. He wants to ruin your energy wealth, thereby raising your taxes. You know, you take in a lot of taxes because of that energy, not just jobs. Fetterman is the single most dangerous Democrat seeking to join Congress this year, and Dr. Oz is the only one that can stop him, and he will stop him. He is in there. He is working so hard. He calls me. I'm telling you, this guy, he wants to win. And, you know, I had a long talk with him 3 days ago. He really wants to win because he wants to help the people of the Commonwealth. He doesn't want to win for himself. He wants to win because he wants to help. So I had it out with him. I said, what is it? And he really, and I'm pretty good at that stuff, he wants to help the people of Pennsylvania. Dr. Oz, please come up.
Tomorrow morning, when you awaken, I want you to contact 10 people. Do it at church, do it before the Steelers game, just find the time. And here's the question you're going to ask them. Are you happy with the way America's going? Hold a second. If they say yes, take their car keys away. They should not be driving in that condition. But most of them, 70%, will say no. And when they say no, tell them that I believe that we are the land of opportunity. Tell them that we are the land of plenty. And tell them that I will bring change to Washington so they treat us the way we deserve. You all in? We'll win. God bless you.
Proud of him. Got a lot of courage. He's going to be a great senator. He'll be one of the most respected senators in our nation. He'll be just do a great job. Got to get him in. We're also joined tonight by some warriors, friends of mine, and I have to start really with somebody I knew right from the beginning. He told me I was going to win. A lot of people were saying, oh, no, no. This was before the run. He said, if you run, you're going to win, and you're going to win easily. His name is Congressman Mike Kelly. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Another warrior, a great guy, a wonderful man who loves the state, Congressman Glenn G.T. Thompson. We all know Glenn. Good job, Glenn. Great job you're doing. Thank you. You have no competition, do you, right? You're up, what, 30, 40 points? I think Mike is up. How many points are you up, Mike? How you doing, Glenn? How is it? Good? Not a real opponent, right? But get out and vote anyway. You never know, right? Thank you, Glenn. Dan Muser. Dan, you are fantastic. You've been my friend for a long time, and you've done a great job. Thank you very much, Dan. Appreciate it. Fred Keller and John Joyce. Where are they? John, Fred, great job. These are warriors, I'll tell you. They've been there from day one. You've been with me, and we appreciate it, fellas. Any other congressmen here? Could you please stand up? Stand up. Anybody else? Yes. But I don't like that particular congressman, so I'm not going to do it. Pennsylvania State Treasurer Stacey Garrity. Stacey, good job, Stacey. Good job. Your next Lieutenant Governor, Carrie Del Russo. Carrie Del Russo. Hi, Carrie. Good job. Good job. And I want to thank also a couple of guys that are really fantastic. Guy Reschenthaler, who's been a fantastic fighter, and congressional candidate Jim Bognett. He's in there fighting, really fighting hard, and Jim is doing great. And this is a great group of people. These are warriors. These are people that really love us all. And you know, it would be great if you could let all of those people back there start drifting over here. It would be great. Give them a good seat in front of the fake news. Also with us is a fantastic woman, a woman of faith, and a woman who's done incredibly well in terms of helping people. Pastor Paula White. Pastor Paula White. Where is Pastor? Where is Pastor Paula? Pastor Paula, thank you very much. What a job she's done. And I'm going to ask a man who's a great man, actually, one of the great men of our country, Kenneth Copeland, to come up and say a prayer. Do you mind? Kenneth Copeland. Please, Ken. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please.
I copied his suit. There are things, this great state of Pennsylvania, liberty was born here. I've been accused of being a Christian nationalist. Our first president, 1789, opened his Bible at the 17th chapter of Genesis, where God made covenant with Abraham. And he read that. And he bowed his knee. And he prayed. And he said, "You'll be our God, and we'll be your people." Would you call him a Christian nationalist? He was a Christian patriot. Hallelujah. So, by covenant, this nation belongs to God. Therefore, voting is a sacred trust. And if you don't vote, hush for at least 2 years. You have no comment. I'm an old man. I've lived through a lot of presidents, beginning with FDR. This is the only one I have ever seen that wears red, white, and blue to the office. That's the reason I copied his suit. and a man that'll do what he says and keep his campaign promises. I was in Jerusalem, where the American embassy is on Donald Trump Avenue in Jerusalem. That's where it belongs. I was there at the dedication. What a great rally. What a great nation. Father, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ of Nazareth, whose we are and whom we serve, in a few days here, people will be going to the polls again to cast vote in the greatest nation in history. Your perfect will be done. And this nation will begin its change, and it will continue to do so, and it will continue under your leadership and your guidance. It will continue to change and change and change until it is great again. And we thank you, sir. We give you praise and honor tonight. And I bow my knee before the God of heaven and earth to pray, as my President Washington prayed, still, you are our God, and we are still your people. Thank you. May God bless this country. May God bless you. Hallelujah. The great state of Pennsylvania. We can stop this inflation thing. I come from the state of Texas, praise God. And the president had us energy independent again, even exporting oil like we should be. Windmills won't do it. You turn one of these things over to a preacher,
We love it.
Well, I mean, hey, I'm 86 years old. Those are not windmills, they're wind chargers. My grandfather had one on top of the house. And in Texas, I live on the lake there in Fort Worth. All the electricity there, if the water comes out of the lake and is fired by natural gas. So, hallelujah. Mr. President, come up here. You probably have to take this thing away from me, but
That's okay.
I have a
You're doing
man on the board of directors of our ministry. His name is Jim Tomlin. This man, great professional football player back in the day. He has drilled and is still drilling some of the deepest gas wells in the world. He was on Flashpoint with Gene Bailey.
Right. That's right.
And Gene asked him, how much untapped natural gas energy do we have in the United States? Without question, he said, we have enough natural gas in the United States to serve this country's needs for 200 years. Now, what about Pennsylvania? Same thing.
Right. That's right. Thank you. We love
You're my president,
Thank
you know that.
That's good. I love you. Good. Thank you very much.
God bless you. Good night.
Be careful. was very good. That was very good. Thank you very much, and thank you to Kenneth. 86, you look good. You look good. With the help of everyone here today, over 4 incredible years, we achieved more for the people of Pennsylvania than any administration in history by far. The congressmen know that. We ended the disaster known as NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with USMCA, Mexico, Canada. And it was probably considered now the best trade deal. In fact, so good that they want to renegotiate it. That's like Boeing. A giant win for Pennsylvania workers, farmers, and manufacturers, as you all know. We also made an even larger and phenomenal trade deal with China, and we did the terrible deals with South Korea, Japan, and other countries, taking them from really bad deals to really good and even great deals. We renegotiated a lot of these horrible deals. I withdrew from the job-killing Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would have put you out of business. And I placed stiff tariffs on foreign aluminum and steel, which kept your aluminum and steel businesses thriving and really doing very well. Do you notice they haven't taken the tariffs off? Because they say if they do, that's the end of the steel industry in this country. I withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord, canceled the falsely named Clean Power Plan. It was a nice name, but it was a disaster for our country. And just as I promised, we put our miners back to work. Our miners went back to work. And I don't know if you know it, Germany now is opening up coal mines all over their country because their Green New Deal was a disaster. But Biden has resumed the war on coal, your coal. Yesterday, he declared that we're going to be shutting down coal plants across America. Can you believe this? In favor of highly unreliable wind and solar that costs us a fortune, most expensive energy you can have, an outrageous slap in the face to Pennsylvania coal country. And I was the one that closed the Russian pipeline. Remember, I said, nope, we're closing the Russian pipeline, which no other president had the courage to even talk about. And then Biden allowed them to go forward with it. We fought for Pennsylvania, and we won for Pennsylvania, and with Republican victories on Tuesday, we will fight and win for Pennsylvania once again. One of the first things that we must do is stand up for parents' rights. Can you believe we're talking about parents' rights? Whoever thought we'd be talking about parental rights? Who would think we have to mention that? 10 years ago, unthinkable. 5 years ago. We will get critical race theory out of our schools, out of our military, and out of every part of our federal, state, and local governments. And at long last, every parent in America must be empowered to opt out of the forced indoctrination in the classroom and send their child to the public, private, charter, religious, or home school of their choice. Have to do it. School choice. And we will also keep men out of women's sports, if that's okay with you, right? No teacher should ever be allowed to teach transgender to our children without parental consent. It's not what they want. They want to do it without parental consent. We're not going to let that happen, Oz. Another one of our highest priorities under a Republican Congress will be to stop left-wing censorship and we have to restore free speech because we don't have free speech, and it's because of them in our country. Go out and sign up now, by the way, for Truth Social, which is doing incredible. It's a hell of a lot better than Twitter. And by the way, if you think it's easy to look at a teleprompter when it's got a 40-mile-an-hour wind, I feel like a drunken sailor. These things are waving all over the place. Just so you know, I'm winging about 80% of what I'm saying here tonight. These suckers are going back and forth. I'm not a drinker, so I don't know what it is to be drunk, but I think this would be it. I'm going back. Now, we're winging it tonight a little bit. I hope everyone's enjoying it. That's a strong wind, but it's a beautiful Pennsylvania wind, and it's not too cold. The only thing worse is when you have to do that, and it's also freezing. And everywhere the Republican Party has the chance, we must pass critical election integrity reforms, including universal voter ID. Who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want it? So they fight us under the information, so they don't want to have any confirmation that a person's a citizen. You know why? Because they want to cheat, that's why. That's why they don't want voter ID. Actually, 84% of Democrats want voter ID, but the leaders don't want it because they want to cheat. No more fake drop boxes, no private money pouring into local election offices, and ultimately, we need same-day voting with only paper ballots. That's what we need, voter ID. We're just 3 days away from the most important midterm election in American history. And we need a landslide so big that the radical left cannot rig it or steal it. It's got to be so big. Everybody needs to get out and vote. And if you care about election integrity, volunteer as an election worker, poll watcher, or poll challenger, get out there. Uncle Sam will be there. He'll greet you at the door. We're going to make sure they don't harm you, too, Uncle Sam, because these people are vicious. They send thugs out. He says, I love this guy. He says, bring him on, I'm ready. This is the year we're going to take back the House, we're going to take back the Senate, and we're going to take back America. We're going to take it back. And in 2024, most importantly, we are going to take back our magnificent, oh, it's so beautiful, White House. We're going to take it back, and you're going to be hearing about it very soon, very, very, very soon. Together, we will fight for more jobs for Pennsylvania families, fair trade for Pennsylvania workers, and more Pennsylvania factories forging more products stamped with that beautiful, beautiful phrase, made in the USA. Right, Mike? We will shut down Biden's border disaster, reinstitute our strong Remain in Mexico. Remember, I got that approved by a great gentleman. President of Mexico is a great man. He's a great gentleman. Happens to be a socialist, but he can't have everything, right? But we got that. I said to the representatives of Mexico, you got to have them remain in Mexico. They didn't know what I was talking about. They said, why would we do that? Because you have to do it. Everyone said, you'll never get that approved. I said, yeah, we'll get it approved. You have to do it. And also, we want 28,000 Mexican soldiers to guard our border. They said, we're not going to do that. Of course we're not going to do that. The State Department thought I was crazy. And everybody said, you're not going to get any of this stuff. And I told them, I said, no, 100% we'll get it, 100%. Then the top person in Mexico came in and he saw me and he smiled when I said it. He said, they've been asking for this for 20 years. We're not going to give that, sir. I said, yes, you are, 100%. He said, what do you mean? He said, 100%. Here's the story. It was a Thursday afternoon. I said, on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, we're putting a 25% tariff on everything that Mexico sells to the United States, including the 32% of our automobile practice and manufacturing that they stole. You know, they have 32% of the cars that were made here had moved down to Mexico. We stopped that. But I said, you're going to put a tariff on of 25%. Every car that comes in, every product that comes in. I said, sir, I'd like to have 5 minutes. May I have 5 minutes? Yes, you may. Came back, he said, sir, we'd love to have 28,000 soldiers guarding your border. Sir, we would love to institute a stay in Mexico situation for all of the gang members. We'd love to have them with us. They're such wonderful people, sir. They agreed to every one of 10 requests. And then Biden came in and gave them all up for nothing. We don't understand it. There's something going on. We don't understand it. But we had the safest border. We will strengthen the patriots of ICE and Border Patrol. Brandon Judd, what a great gentleman he is too. Tom Holman, Brandon Judd, they have great people. We had unbelievable people. Mark Morgan. And we will again end catch and release. We will end chain migration. We will end the visa lottery. These are things you don't have to know too much about them, but trust me, they're bad. And we will end illegal immigration once and for all. We did most of it. Most of those things we had, and then they gave them up so stupidly. We will stop the crime wave in Democrat-run cities. We will give our police the power they need and the respect they deserve. They're incredible. And we will not take legal protection away from our police. They want our police to go out and get legal representation should they have a problem. No, we will represent our police if they have problems. We will restore law and order in America. We will hold China accountable for the unleashing of the virus upon the world. The damage is beyond anything, beyond comprehension. We will abolish all COVID mandates and lockdowns and rehire every patriot who was fired from the military with an apology and back pay. We will defend our Constitution, we will defend the Second Amendment, and we will proudly uphold the Judeo-Christian values and principles of our nation's founding. We will restore patriotic education to our schools, and we will teach our children to love their country, honor their history, and to always respect our great American flag, always. In conclusion, our MAGA movement, Make America Great Again, we have to explain that to Biden. When he hits MAGA, say, no, 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 you don't understand the meaning. MAGA is Make America Great Again. I watched him the other day say, we must stop America first. I said, that's an awfully bad. You know what you should say is, we got to stop Trump policies. Stop Trump policy. But you can't say stop America first. You can't say, we will stop making America great again. It doesn't work. I don't think. What do you think, Mike? That's not working too well, right? Make America Great Again is by far the greatest political movement in the history of our country. Together we are standing up against some of the most menacing forces, entrenched interests, and vicious opponents our people have ever seen. We've never seen anything like what's going on today. Despite great outside danger, our biggest threat remains the sick, sinister, and evil people from within our country. I really believe it. But no matter how big or powerful the corrupt radical left Democrats that we are fighting against may be, you must never forget this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. This nation belongs to you. This is your home, this is your heritage, and our American liberty is your God-given right. From Allentown to Johnstown, from Harrisburg to Pittsburgh, and from Philadelphia to Latrobe. You know what Latrobe is? Latrobe, I love Latrobe. It's the home of the great Arnold Palmer, who's looking down now. Arnold Palmer, he was one of the greats, one of the great men. Much more than a great golfer, he was a great man, and he loved Latrobe, Pennsylvania. He told me, I said, Arnold, you can be anywhere in the world. Why do you stay in Latrobe? He said, because I love the people of Latrobe. I love this whole thing. He bought the course as a young man when he made money. His father worked as a laborer in Latrobe at the course. And Arnold won the U.S. Amateur. He was a great player in college. He used to practice with his father. The father would have to borrow members' clubs because they couldn't afford to buy Arnold a club. Think of that. And Arnold tells the story. People start crying when they hear it. His father was great, but he was a very strong man. He was a laborer. He was a sod carrier. He could carry more sod than any other man. And he ended up teaching his boy how to play with other people's clubs. They couldn't get a club. They couldn't afford one club. So he'd ask the members, and they'd let him use the club late at night. And then Arnold became a great golfer, and he won the U.S. Amateur. And then he turned pro. And from day one, he made money. And he saved a little bit of up. After 3 or 4 tournaments, he already had good money. And he bought the course. And he made his father the superintendent, from laborer to superintendent. I don't know if you know this. This is like a great story. And then ultimately, he made the father, became a very rich man, Arnold. Very, very rich. He owned television networks. He owned a lot of things. He started IMG with Mark McCormick. People don't even know these things. Mark McCormick, should I tell the story or not? You're not going to leave, right? You're not going to leave. Everybody wants to hear this. So IMG is one of the big companies in Hollywood. It's a big agency, the biggest, I guess, or just about, but very powerful. And Mark McCormick started it, but he was playing for a certain college, and Arnold went to Wake Forest. And he was the #1 player on the team, obviously. You know, he's not the number 2 or 3 or 4, and then he ends up being the best, right? But he was the #1 player for Wake Forest. And Mark McCormick was a smart guy, but he wanted to be a professional golfer. And he fought so hard. He was a good guy. He was a very good golfer, and he practiced all the time. And then he had the privilege. He was the best player on his team, a college. And then he had the privilege of a match with Wake Forest. And Arnold Palmer was obviously #1. So he got the chance to play Arnold Palmer, who he had heard about. Arnold had won the U.S. Amateur. So they start off, and around the 9th hole, somebody called over to Mark, "How are you playing? It's the best I've ever played. How are you doing?" "I'm 6 down. He was 6 down before the 9th hole. And he realized then that he could never be a great player because Arnold Palmer was so much better. He was stronger, longer. He was a better chipper and putter. He was better at everything. So Mark McCormick, being a very smart guy, said, "Arnold, you're really incredible. What I'd like to do is I'd like to represent you as your agent. I'd like to start a company called IMG, and I'd like to represent you." And Arnold Palmer was the first person represented, did you know that, Uncle Sam, by IMG? And it became a powerhouse. It became an absolute powerhouse. And Arnold owned actually 50% of it. And over the years, he'd sell it. It wasn't his thing. He loved golf so much. But he made a fortune. He bought television networks. He bought a lot of things. But Arnold Palmer became a very good friend of mine in his latter years. And I got to play golf with Arnold when he was quite a bit older. He was about 83 or 84. And I was substantially younger than that. But not so young, I will tell you. And Arnold would hit a drive, and I'd hit a drive, and I might be 3 yards longer. But, you know, he was 83, 84 years old. Don't get carried away. And I looked at Arnold. I said, "Arnold, let me ask you a question. Do you think 40, 50 years ago I was longer than you like I am now?" He looked at me. This is before I was president. He said, "Donald, let me tell you something. You weren't even close. In fact, if you look at those trees about 100 yards over there, that's where my ball would be, and here you are." I'll never forget, he looked at me and he said, "In fact, I could build a giant Walmart in between our 2 balls." That wasn't very nice, right? But Arnold was great. He was a great man. He was a great man. And beyond a golfer, he was a great man, and he came from Latrobe, Pennsylvania. So I have a very warm spot for Latrobe because he was a friend of mine. Incredible guy. I could tell you so many Arnold stories, but I thought that's self-deprecating, right? I hate to admit it, and I agreed with him. That's the saddest part. I said, "I agree with you." We stand on the shoulders of American legends who poured out their blood, sweat, and tears for our rights and for our freedom. Pennsylvania is where our founding fathers declared American independence. Think of the importance of this state, what you're going to be representing and what you're going to be representing. Think of it. Think of it. It's where the Army weathered a brutal winter at Valley Forge, where General George Washington led his men on a daring mission across the Delaware, and where our Union, well, our whole thing, we had it all wrapped up, was saved by the immortal heroes at Gettysburg. Think of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. That's the whole ball of wax, right? Gettysburg, Pennsylvania is, by the way, one of the most beautiful sights you've ever seen, but the site of one of the most vicious battles anyone has ever seen or partaken in. And this is the state where generations of tough, strong Pennsylvania miners, they want to take away your jobs. Factory workers, steel workers, and energy workers forged the greatest nation in the history of the world. Thank you. It's so sad. It's so sad. because we are now a nation in decline. There's no reason for this. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has the highest inflation in 50 years, and where the stock market finished the worst first half of the year since 1872. Likewise, we are a nation that has the highest energy costs in its history. We are no longer energy independent or energy dominant as we were just 2 short years ago. We are a nation that is begging Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, and many others for oil. Please, please, please help us, Joe Biden says. Yet we have more liquid gold right under our feet than any other country. We are a nation that is consumed by the radical left's Green New Deal. Yet everyone knows that the Green New Deal will lead to our destruction. We are a nation whose leaders are demanding all electric cars, even though they can't go far, cost too much, and whose batteries are produced in China with materials only available in China, when an unlimited amount of gasoline is available inexpensively in the United States, but it's not available in China. We are a nation that ended oil exploration and production in the United States just as the price of oil reached an all-time high, the highest it's ever been. What other country would do such a thing? We are a nation that surrendered in Afghanistan, leaving behind dead soldiers, American citizens, and $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment in the world. And we are a nation that allowed Russia to devastate a country, Ukraine, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and it will only get worse. It would never have happened with me as your commander-in-chief, and for 4 straight years, it didn't happen. And China, with Taiwan, is next. We are a nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against the opposing political party like never before. We've got a Federal Bureau of Investigation that won't allow bad election-changing facts to be presented, and which offers $1 million to a writer of fiction about Donald Trump to lie and to say it was fact, and pays a man $200,000 to get Trump, where Hunter Biden's laptop from hell was Russian disinformation and the FBI knew it wasn't, and a Department of Justice that refuses to investigate egregious acts of voting irregularities and fraud. And we have a man who is the worst president in the history of our country, who is cognitively impaired and in no condition to lead, and is now casually talking about nuclear war with Russia, which would be World War III and far more devastating than any of the previous wars because of the weaponry that no one even wants to talk about. And we are a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is all you get. And they are indeed the enemy of the people. We are a nation where free speech is no longer allowed, where crime is rampant and out of control like never before, and where more people died of COVID in 2021 than died in 2020. We are a nation that is allowing Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon and China to use the trillions of dollars it has taken from us to build a military to more than rival our own. And just 2 years ago, we had Iran, China, Russia, and North Korea in check. They weren't going to do a thing against us, and everyone knows it. And perhaps most importantly, we are a nation that is no longer respected or listened to around the world. We are a nation that in many ways has become a joke. And we are a nation that is hostile to liberty, freedom, and faith. We are a nation whose economy is collapsing into a cesspool of ruin, whose supply chain, our beautiful supply chain is broken, and stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is ranked at the bottom of each and every list. We are a nation where large packs of sadistic criminals and thieves are going into stores and openly robbing them, beating up and killing workers, and killing the customers and leaving with armloads of goods, but with no retribution, where the authority of our great police has been taken, where their families and pensions have been threatened, and their lives would be destroyed for the mere mention of the words law enforcement. We are a nation where fentanyl and all other forms of illegal drugs are easier to get than formula for our beautiful little babies. A nation whose once revered airports are a dirty, crowded mess. You sit and wait for hours, and then they are notified that the plane won't leave, and they have no idea when they will. Where ticket prices have tripled, they don't have the pilots to fly the planes, they don't have the qualified air traffic controllers, and they just don't know what they're doing. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, its willpower, and its strength. We are a nation that has lost its way, but we are not going to allow this horror to continue. 2 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. It was the hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and it's the hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. We will stand up to the radical left Democrats and the dangerous and unpatriotic rhinos, and we will fight for America like no one has ever fought before. There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is no victory we cannot have. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. We will never give in. We will never give up. And we will never, ever, ever, ever back down. As long as we are confident, united, and loyal to the cause, the tyrants we are fighting do not stand even a chance. Because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and to God alone. The silent majority is back and stronger than ever before. My fellow citizens, this incredible journey we are on together has only just begun. And it is time to start talking about greatness for our country again. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So with the help of everyone here today and the citizens all across our land, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you.